to BBV Con. I'm so excited that you have joined and you've jumped on. I'm assuming, and I don't like to assume, but that you guys are business owners, or you're interested in business. Chances are that you have followed myself or any of the other lovely business owners that we have on. And yeah, you're wanting to find out the tea about social media and how they're using it, how they're utilizing it to connect with their communities, how it's impacting their business, and all that good stuff. I'll just give a brief intro to the Black Business Vault. So that's my business, and that came about during the lockdown when I struggled to find stock images of Black people. We couldn't get out and about. I was going to invest in some properties and wanted some pictures, and the stock photos that I found were just all stiff and stilted. And I was like, I'm married to a photographer, like, let's put him to work, right? So that's how the Black Business Vault came about, and it's expanded, right? So we have the stock photography. We also have masterclasses. So we'll be looking for guest experts. So I might be hitting some of you up to come onto the platform and to deliver whatever it is that your area of expertise is. Within the Vault, we also give digital resources and various other bits and bobs, but you guys did not jump on to hear about the Vault, and I'm hoping that you guys were able to download the guide that was sent out. If you didn't, don't worry, I can drop it in the chat while the presentations are ongoing. But yeah, this event is all in celebration of Social Media Day. There are so many different days. I don't know if you guys like pay attention. There's actually one to walk your plant. There's like a walk your plant day. Like, they're random, right? They're all the way random. But yeah, this one, I saw it and was like, okay, how can I leverage this? How can I get some people together, share some knowledge, help to inspire? I love my people, and some of the things that I see happening, I'm like, let's bring some people on that are doing this thing well so that we can all do well, right? So the first speaker that I am going to invite up to the virtual mic is Kelly. Now, Kelly is like what I would call my like virtual BFF. Like, literally, if you need to know, yeah, love you. If you need the tea on like, you know, what the government are doing around finances or taxes or how you can save some coin, she's your girl. So Kelly, if you could unmic and introduce yourself. And
thank you, Hey, everyone. So I'm Kelly Upstaged, but my name's Kelly Mackenzie, but my name's Kelly Upstaged. On everything, TikTok, Insta, Twitter, which I don't use. I suppose if I go first, what do I do? So now I've become like a financial influencer. That genuinely, I'll break it down, that was never the plan. That was never, ever the plan. That's just where we found ourselves in 2023. I am an insurance advisor, so I sell all types of life insurance, business insurance, critical illness cover, and then source businesses for people to buy, which has really taken off. But as this is about social media, I went onto Insta originally 4 years ago, and I was just using it for what Insta was for back in the day. You know, oh, I look good, I'm gonna take a picture, I'm gonna post my pretty picture, I'm gonna get some likes. And then I realized I actually don't like that, so I kind of left it. So I went back onto social media properly January 2022, and that was because at the end of 2019 I became self-employed, quit my job after 2 weeks as being an insurance advisor, and realized, okay, had looked at Instagram and was like, okay, I can see where it's going. At the moment, it's pictures, but I can kind of see people are going to start going towards videos. There's other platforms. So before TikTok, there was another one. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like set to be the next big thing, and it was video based. So I was like, okay, that's clearly where it's going. Cool. I prefer a video to a picture personally because I don't like pictures. I prefer how I look in videos. So it works for me. So I realized with social media, I kind of have to say a bit about what I do. So the insurance is completely self-employed. So it's commission only. You are responsible for finding your own clients. So when I was introduced to that business, people were going on the referral basis of, oh, Shalina, I've done your policy. Okay, you're really happy with the service. Can you refer me to 5 people that you really care about? Now, if you want something done efficiently, ask a lazy person. I'm a lazy person. I'm always going to find the fastest, most efficient way, not because I'm smart, because I don't want to do the other stuff. I want to get there quickly and I want to do it now. So I was like, instead of having to speak 10 times to 10 people, if I speak once on social media, I can speak to as many people as going to see it, and I can convert from once talking, I can convert maybe 50. And doing it that way round, they have to book me. So I already know it's not a conversion of business because you've booked me, you want the policy. Whereas if I speak to 10 people and I've called on the back of some one person being happy, there might be a conversion of only 2 people. And that is when I realized social media is the way for me. It's the way for lazy people to reach the masses without getting too techie. When I first started out, the videos were just shocking, shocking, but it still got reach. And it was growing slowly. But at the time, I didn't care that it was growing slowly because I was still getting clients from it. So day one, my Instagram has been about who's going to be my client on the back of this. And then when it started to take off a little bit more, I was like, okay, this can pay you. Aside from insurance, aside from sourcing businesses, Instagram itself can pay you. You can get I can never say this word, my braces. UCG payments. Companies start to look at your following. Okay, we can leverage this. Do you want some free stuff? Do you want to do this content for us? Do you want to do these reels for us? And the more followers you have, obviously, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. The more followers you have, the more money you can command. So I've now put myself in a position where I do videos for like £1,300, which makes me really happy. Because why? I'm lazy. That is why I like that. So I say I started to take it extremely serious in January 2020. No, is that a lie? That's a lie. January 2022, last year. So at the beginning of last year, I said to myself, okay, we're going on the road to 10K. Because 10K is when you're likely to get verified, even though we can buy our badges now. And 10K is where your nano influencer, 10K is where companies are looking for, okay, if that person's got that, depending on your engagement rate, you can now start to get paid. And obviously, hitting 10K, thank you, Tanya, hitting 10K means that once you get to 10K, Instagram starts to work for you. Instagram starts to show you to more people because I noticed that my ratios changed of followers to non-followers, as in who's seeing the stuff. So once you hit 10K, Instagram goes, oh, okay, you're behaving how we want you to behave on our platform. Let's do some of the work for you. So in March, I hit 10K, and today I'm on 16.3K. And that is proof that Instagram works for you once you hit 10K. And I've not posted anymore. I post very infrequently. I don't listen to my strategy because my strategy is not behaving the way that Instagram will tell you to do it. But it's working. What's the next point I want to hit? So my favorite platform is Instagram. Now people are saying that people are going to move away from it. Obviously, YouTube pays more. Instagram just has my heart. It's where I feel the safest because I don't know. I can't wait to everyone else. If anybody, I have TikTok and my TikTok's on 14K. TikTok, if you are not thick-skinned, TikTok comments will finish you. You will be on the floor. You'll be weak. Like I read the first few, and after that, I'm not going back because genuinely, it's worse than Twitter, and you know that Twitter's savage. So TikTok, I use it, but I'm quite lazy in that I kind of repurpose what I do on Insta and put it on TikTok. I haven't reached the level of filming 2 separate videos. We're not there yet. So Instagram feels safe. Instagram, as far as I'm concerned, how it works for me is where I get the most sensible engagement. TikTok, you could go viral, but the engagement, a lot of it is trolls, and some of it is just nonsensical questions where you wonder, where do these people live? But Instagram, for me, seems to have the most sensible questions, sensible engagement, and clients. My conversion rate on Instagram is crazy. So I would say pick your platform. I'm not saying you can't be big on all of them, but I've chosen that Insta is my place. I'm gonna start YouTube in the next few weeks. which quite genuinely I'm dreading, but I've been told I have to reach a different crowd. And once you get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, it's a completely different ballgame. So that's the next thing to take down. Okay, so I know I'm trying to work down the questions, like what were we going to be talking about? So how I initially grew was I did so many collabs. I used to go on my phone, I used to find somebody who's doing something similar, maybe not necessarily the same, because no one was really on Instagram talking about insurance. So it was a little bit more difficult for me. So I used to go and find somebody that either I liked, like I like how their Instagram looks, I like how they talk, maybe they sound like me, they look like me. Then I went the other way, let me go find the opposite. And I used to DM so much that I got Instagram put me on a block. You're only allowed to do 100 DMs a day. I was going past that. I was going crazy. I was doing copy and paste. Do you want to wrote my thing? This is what I do. Do you want to jump on a live? Hitting them until people are just like, yeah, yeah. And then it flips over to people DMing you to ask you to do stuff, which was like a bit mind blowing. I didn't know that I'd reached that point. So don't be afraid to do collabs. And I also keep up to date with what Instagram want. Like I said, I'm not the best at posting on often, but Instagram changes often. So I try to stay up to date. So right now, Instagram's favoring people posting 5 days a week. I'm not going to post 5 days a week. I don't work for Instagram. But that is what the algorithm wants. It's wanting 5 to 6 stories a day. Again, I'll post what stories I want. But these are the things that when you do them, Instagram starts to favor your account. So you probably see it in your accounts. You'll see sometimes you're like, oh, this is a bit low. And other times you're like, whoa, this is booming. What's happened? And it's generally your behavior towards Instagram. Think of it like a narcissistic parent. If you're behaving nicely to it, it will give you nice things. So it wants you to be jumping on live at least once a week. The metrics are crazy, but if you, as close as you can get to them, and as consistently as you can do the schedule that you can do, Instagram is going to behave favorably. TikTok is completely different. TikTok is a beast of its own. I don't think people can master it. It does what it wants to do. It definitely wants people posting 3 times a day. I don't know what you'd be posting 3 times a day, but so collabs, lives, jumping on lives, collaboration of posts. So if I'm posting some information and I'm gonna at Shalina, I'll make it so it's a collaborative post. Again, it's just leveraging. You're leveraging your own network. It's win-win. Shalina would get my network, I will get her network. There's people that we don't know on either side. Hopefully it results in more followers, more engagement, more clients, just more opportunity in general. And I've met some serious business people on Instagram, and I really take my Instagram relationships quite seriously. I spend a lot of time replying to my DMs. I spend a lot of time replying to my comments straight after I post. And those are things again that Instagram they like you to. It's about building your relationship with your people. And I don't know if people use it anymore. Clubhouse, that really helped me. I did a lot of Clubhouse talks, but every time I was on a different platform to Instagram, because that's my baby, I was making sure people hit me up on my Instagram because that's where I want them. You guys have got to be really decisive and in charge about where you want your people. So if we're doing videos on another platform, my link's there. Anything I do, anytime I talk, whether it's in public, okay, yeah, check out my Instagram or check out whether it's your website that you want. You've got to be so intentional. And when I became intentional, I grew 6K in 3 months. So that's when it gets serious. How do I stay abreast? I'm kind of a non-conformist. I don't do a lot of the reels that have the trending sounds, but they work. It just, don't be forced to do something just because it's trending, because if you're adding value, people are going to see it and people are going to share it. So likes are not gold anymore. Gold is saves. In Instagram currency and TikTok currency, people saving your post is the pixie dust. Likes are fun, that's great, it looks nice. But the length of time that people watch your videos for and them saving them is what Instagram cares about. And that is what is going to make people share it. Oh, if I'm having to save this, let me show this to someone. And again, in my videos, I will say at the end, share. We're all lazy people. I'm lazy. When I watch something, I need to know what the call to action was. Do you want me to share this? Do you want me to save this? Am I supposed to like this? What's happening? So be very mindful about the way you're structuring your videos as well. Oh, mental health and social media. If I don't want to post, guess what? I'm not posting. My assistant could cuss, she could moan. I don't care. I'm not in the mood to post. No one's going to get a post. Or you might get a post of me cussing on my story. I'm just not going to do what I don't want to do. And that is what allows me to still think that social media is fun. If I feel that it's not fun, I'm not doing it. Now, that's probably not the way round to be a business owner, but if you're at the point where you're still managing your own account and you're still doing your own content creation, if you film something under duress, it's going to come across like that anyway. So I never understand the point. I kind of look through people's account and I feel like you didn't want to do that. You don't even look like you want to be there. So I would rather see nothing. So that's how I look at my own account. I always look at my own account from outside of, would I think this is funny? Would I think that this is cool? Do I even care what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? I don't ever feel under pressure to post just because people are waiting or you feel like, oh my God, I haven't posted in a long time. Make sure that it makes sense and make sure that it's going to add value. And where do I think it's going? We're definitely going away from super polished accounts, those joined up aesthetics. You know, the old school accounts when you look and it's like edited to the nines. People are completely made up. We're definitely going away from that. And I know this because on Insta and TikTok, I follow two accounts where their whole job is to give updates about the specific app, where they're heading, what the trends are going to be. And even though they're saying what they're going to be, we know that they've been fed by the company themselves. So you should listen to them because they're telling you exactly what to do if you want to grow. So storytelling is huge. It's already big for businesses, but especially for small businesses, medium-sized businesses, telling a story is huge. It's what people want. We're inherently nosy. So if you can tell a story about your product or tell a story about your service or not just show your service or sell your service, Instagram's definitely going that way, TikTok and YouTube. And people showing up more as themselves. And that works for me because I couldn't even be super polished if I tried. And that's it.
My goodness, Kelly, you have just delivered a whole masterclass in like 15 minutes.
I'm sweating.
I hope you guys were like taking notes. I'm recording this anyway, but you might have heard something that just like sparked an idea.
I hope so.
Yeah, you definitely would have got something. You have to have. If you haven't, like, can I shake you, please? Because that was super powerful. Just what I want to just quickly ask, and I know it's not the Q&A section, but in terms of like coming up with the topics and the content that you speak about, is there like a strategy to that, or is it just on vibes? Are you kind of...
I'm always going to be in the vibes, but I've made a way that the vibes can work. So because anything boring, so I have ADHD and autism, yeah. So anything boring, I categorically I'm not going to do it. Even if it loses me money often, but I'm not doing it. So how I work it is, if I'm looking for finance stuff, I will like go on like Martin Lewis or have a look at the news, but I try not to consume too much of it. Do a bullet point. That's it. Just the name of the video, nothing else, and then I'll leave it. And then once you start to do content, I'm just very mindful of what I listen to. So if I hear a conversation, like in a shop, for instance, one of my videos came from, the woman was like, she's focusing on the money that she's losing. Notepad or my phone, we're concentrating on the wrong thing. So there's no actual structure, but I know where I'm going to go to get an idea. Or this is a big one, I walk with obviously my notes in my phone or my book anywhere. So no matter what your product or service is, if you're paying attention going around, I write something down, just the title of the video, and I'll revisit it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Like literally, like guys, drop some hearts or something. Like
I can't wait to listen to everybody else.
Yeah,
I'll put my pen here.
So good. Like that recording better have recorded because I didn't write nothing. I was like, just in the moment. Amazing. All right. So I am going to move on now. And I'm going to invite Michelle to come up. Now, Michelle is doing some amazing things. There's like plans that are ahead that I'm sure she'll probably share some of them with you. Um, Let me just pin her. And then, Michelle, if you can just unmic and introduce yourself.
I am here. I'm ready to go. So first of all, thank you everybody for coming and for this time to listen to me of all people to talk about social media. And first of all, let me just introduce myself and then I'll tell you why that is super, super ironic. So my name is Michelle Gibbs. I am the founder and CEO of Mrs. Mummy PhD. And the whole platform is there. It's a dedicated platform for mums who are doing PhDs, but who are also juggling marriage, life, and motherhood. And out of that has come a brand new community that I'm creating called Scholarly Mamas. And that community is a purposeful community for, again, mamas doing advanced degrees who are in the midst of this struggle and who just want a safe space to sort of talk about the journey, talk about the juggles, talk about the struggles, and also transform that journey into something more purposeful so that it feels easier, it feels more manageable, and it feels less isolating. Because for those of us who have had the experience of doing a PhD, it is actually very, very isolating. So Scholarly Mamas is coming soon. It's not live yet, but it will be soon. And I'm also the author of a children's book series called Doodle Dozen, which is behind me here. And that was really a labor of love for my 3 boys, who I'm going to talk about in a minute, because one of our sons, like, he just got engrossed in drawing and doodling things that would come up for him during the day. And he had this little scrapbook and he'd just draw in that every day. And I said to him, this is just before the pandemic, and I said to him, you know what, I think I'm going to turn this idea into a children's book. And like your whole, this scrapbook and drawing things, I'm going to make it into a story, because other kids may enjoy this and other kids may love drawing and doodling as well. And so I came up with a storyline for each of the books, and sorry, it's really loud outside, and came up with a storyline for each of the books, published them, and he was like, he couldn't believe that I did this. And I thought, you know what, this is why I did it, because I want you to see this is not just, yes, it's a journey of creativity for kids, and it's there to inspire them and to, be a source of creative expression for them. But also, on the other hand, it's a journey for me as well as a mum to show my kids that actually you can do absolutely anything you want in life if you put your mind to it and recognize the potential within yourself. So that's been a journey of creativity for myself, but also a journey of just showing my kids, like, step out of your comfort zone and do something different and bold. And that's what I did. So I was born oh, I should say, actually, the books are for age 4 to 8, so they're not for all kids, but ages 4 to 8. So I was born in Barbados, as you can probably tell from my wonderful coal-infested accent. But my family and I are based in the UK. And speaking of family, I'm married to my wonderful high school sweetheart. We're actually celebrating our 17th wedding anniversary in a couple of days. And we have 3 boys, ages 12, 7, and 2. I don't have to tell you, these 3 boys keep us absolutely on our toes. And on top of all of that, I am a research dietitian by background, and I am in the final stages of my PhD. So the PhD is my 5th degree. Please don't judge. Your girl loves learning, right? But anyway, so that's kind of the background to Mrs. Mummy PhD. And why I felt the need to do it was because, I was deep in the throes of this struggle myself. I've been on this journey, right? And, juggling work, juggling PhD life. My PhD I did part-time over 8 years. It's been a long journey, right? And throughout that, I literally could not find people to identify with in academia and also in my personal life. My friends, they didn't understand what a PhD journey was like. And so I just found myself in this middle of not knowing where I fit. And I thought, you know what, there must be other, and I know for a fact there are other mamas who are out there doing PhDs who feel the same way, isolated, people don't relate on either end. And there was actually no space for us. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be the change that I want to see. I'm going to create something for mamas who are in this limbo, right? So like many of you guys who perhaps have some kind of business idea, it's there for a purpose. It's not just to run a business. Like there's a reason behind what you're doing. And so for me, part of that was to make visible what I felt was invisible. You know, the mamas in academia who are often overlooked and who are struggling in silence and in isolation. And then the mamas who are trying to be present mamas who nobody seems to remember or understand that there's a PhD to be done. So yeah, that was the kind of the background to Mrs. Mummy PhD and Scholarly Mamas. So you might assume that being a millennial mama who is well educated and doing all this fun stuff, that I would be all over social media. Well, no, I was not on social media at all before I even started Mrs. Mummy PhD. Not even personal. Like I had a Facebook, but I was never really on there. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't really posting or anything. And so I was kind of like a social media dinosaur. I don't know if anybody else is a social media dinosaur, but it wasn't my area of confidence. Like I was really, really nervous about being on social media. And so another reason why that was the case was because I'm a huge introvert. I love my little quiet space and just get on with things I have to do and not necessarily be posting. And it kind of felt like, to me at the time, I felt like social media was like a vanity space. It's like going, just saying about myself. And it just wasn't me. And so it was a huge barrier to putting myself out there. And it's kind of what stopped me from even creating personal accounts for social media. And so what changed? Well, I had to realize that in order to help these scholarly mamas who I want to help and who are in this zone of isolation, I have to find them somehow, and they have to find me somehow. And so I've got to get past this fear and step boldly into my God-given purpose. Like, and I have to overcome this fear of, I don't want to put myself out there. Oh, what are people going to think? And all that stuff. And just remember why I'm doing what I'm doing and being focused and purpose driven in that way. And once you are purpose driven, I think there's little room for fear. You just kind of push past that fear and get yourself out there, however you need to. And for me, that was actually trying to find other scholarly mamas on social media. And so as a small business owner with a very limited budget, which I'm sure a lot of us are in this boat, and who is also an introvert, I kind of realized that, out here in these social media streets, I am not going to be anything that I am not. So that is a core requirement for me. Just like Kelly, I am not out here to do anything that I am not naturally wanting to do. I am going to be myself. I'm going to be authentically myself. And I'm going to do things that are aligned with both my character and my budget, because let's just keep it real, right? So with a small loyal audience, I have a very tiny audience, but a loyal audience. And I realized that when I share content on social media, mainly on Instagram, I've copy pasted things into other spaces, but I don't really have much of an audience in other spaces. And so what I've noticed when I share content with this little loyal audience, that, I share things like my highs and lows of my PhD journey, or, deep reflections on motherhood, or just things that I'm enjoying in marriage life, or even just things about becoming an author, what have you. people engage with the content. And so here are the two things that I learned as, in my short time on social media, and also with, connecting with a small audience, is that at the core of whatever we do on social media, or in terms of like creating content, there are two key things that I try and keep at the forefront of my mind. The first one is service. Like, we are here to serve people. We're not here to just glorify ourselves on social media. We're here to help people solve a problem, help them overcome a barrier, help them connect with people, help them, feel better about some challenge that they're having, or give them solutions to a problem. And so that's the first thing. And the second thing is to remember that it's all about the relationship building. And I think that, a lot of people, they kind of forget that bit of it. This is actually about building relationships. And whether you are doing that through a product you're creating, or whether you're doing that through content on social media, or promoting a product on social media, or building a community or networking with people, whatever it is that you are using social media for, relationships are at the center of that. And so we don't treat people online the way, we're not going to be treating people badly online if we wouldn't do that in person. Like, we're not on here to do things or to behave in a way that isn't authentically ourselves. And so out of that, the whole journey, I've been running a blog. I've recently started a podcast as well. And mainly because I wanted a way of connecting with more people, but I'm such an introvert. I'm nervous to be on YouTube at the minute. So I'm like, oh, how can I kind of expand my reach without, putting myself on YouTube? I think eventually I will have to do that, but I'm like, how else can I do it? And so I decided on podcasting, which I absolutely love. It works for my personality. I don't have to be on screen, on camera, and all that. And I can just connect with people. And I've had so many people DMing me or saying, we really love your content, we really love your podcast. And it's such a tiny, tiny, tiny little audience, but I'm still clearly having some impact, and that means everything to me, because that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So yeah, I think that's all I really could think about sharing at the minute, unless anybody's got any questions, and we can come back to that at the end. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Do you know what I want to just have you considered just recording your video while you're doing your podcasts? So
I could do that. I've seen some
doing the
people do
podcast
that.
anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you could get double bubble, get the video content and post it onto YouTube. YouTube also have like the podcast feature now. It's probably just a playlist on YouTube, but I think that would be a way to ease yourself in. Sorry, I'm
know me, I am so like easing in person. I am the queen of easing in.
If you're doing the podcast and you enjoy doing that, that would show in the video that you're gonna record at the same time. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much. And I love what you said about like just that human side of it, the connections, like remembering it's a person at the other end of that screen. And as much as we're in business and we're focusing on the bottom line and all that stuff, ultimately people do business with people. So, let that be like the focus, and you'll get more business.
Agreed.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Michelle. I am next going to invite up Georgina. Now, I have seen like literally the journey and the growth in Georgina, and I'm just blown away by what this lady has managed to achieve. Yeah, I'm not gonna steal her thunder. Share. Yeah, please share away.
Thank you, and thank you to everybody for taking your time out on a Friday night to sort of join the conference. And Yeah, I'm really excited to be here, really excited to share my story. I am the creative behind the brand Afro Touch Design, which is an Afro-Lux stationery greeting cards business. I've been running Afro Touch, back then it was Special Touch Design, and I'll talk about that story a little bit later, but it started back in about 2015. So I feel like I've probably been on social media for the longest time. I opened my social media account, my Instagram account, in June 2015. So I've been on it for a very long time. And I think I'm what you call, I think the thing on Love Island at the moment, a slow burner. So I'm a slow burner when it comes to social media. So a bit of background to me. I am a pharmacist by background. I'm a mum of 3, so I resonate with the juggle struggle with Michelle, with you. And I also work full-time within the corporate world. So I work for a pharmaceutical company and I run Afro Touch Designs in and around all of that craziness. And it really started whilst I was on maternity leave. So my son, my second child, was born, and I was at home. I was on maternity leave. I had a baby on one side, a laptop on the other, and I was trying to look for a greeting card for a friend who'd also just had a baby. She was of Nigerian background. And I couldn't find anything that was just culturally reflective. I couldn't find, all I could see was, little cute little white babies, or, storks with little white baby feet. I couldn't see anything that was like represented the Black culture. And I'm not an artist by any means. Like I've learned everything from scratch. So I'm not a trained artist. I'm a pharmacist. I've got a science brain. I'm not, So I remember getting a piece of paper, fold it in half and to make a card, and I had some African fabric at home, and I cut a little baby buggy out of African fabric. I put it on the card and I gave it to my friend, and she was like, wow, this is so nice, this is so lovely, it's hand finished, da, da, da. And I thought, oh, okay, there might be something in this. So I'm Nigerian as well, so I also have that business background brain as well. And I thought, okay, when my son turned 1, he was born in February, so it's just before Valentine's Day. So I'd made a load of cards, put little hearts on them, set up a stall in the back of his birthday party, and sold out the cards. And then that was when I thought, okay, I think there's something in this. So I started the social media. Instagram was the one thing was very new to me at the time. I'd always been on Facebook. So I began sort of posting pictures on Facebook, just as we did on and off. And then when I started the Instagram page, it was very much just posting products, because it was photos. So I would take a picture of a product or a card and I'd post it up with no call to action, no nothing, just here's a picture, expecting people to then head on over to my Etsy shop at the time, or head on over to my website. And I wasn't asking them for anything. So I was like, okay, this is my project. Do you like it? And that was it. So I think Instagram has always been, I think similarly to what Kel said, Instagram is the platform that I'm most familiar with. It's the platform that I feel most at home. I'm on everything. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on TikTok, but I don't use any of those really. I repurpose stuff, but I always come back to Instagram. So what the early advice I would give is just, you don't have to be on everything. Stick to what makes you feel comfortable, because the one that you feel comfortable in is the one that you're going to show up the most on, and the one that's just you're going to feel like your authentic self. You're not going to feel forced to, if you're on Twitter, forced to make a comment because you just have to make a comment. Whereas if you're on a platform that you feel comfortable with, you show up more as yourself. So, like I said, I started off just posting pictures of the products. And then I was growing kind of slowly. Like I said, I'm a slow burner. So it was sort of steadily growing. And then after about 4 years, I got tired and I thought, you know what, I've been doing this business for the past 4 years and I just feel like it's not going anywhere. It's not doing what I want it to do. And at that time, the business was called Special Touch Design. So I made the decision in 2019 to rebrand. I rebranded, I changed the name of the business, I changed the brand colors and everything. And I decided that and the reason why I decided to rebrand is because at that point, 4 years had gone through, I knew who my customer base was then. I knew what I was trying to do. I knew that I wanted to create a buying option for people looking for culturally reflective cards. And I wanted them to be able to just jump off of a train and go into a shop and pick up a card without having to search online like I had to. I wanted these products to be easily accessible. And so I then decided to change the business name to Afro Touch Design. I put a bit of Afro Touch onto everything that I designed, and that's why I called it that. So at that point, I thought I need to be a bit more intentional about my social media presence. I need to try and switch things up a little bit. So that was then when I thought, well, what am I doing? I'm rebranding my business. So why not share the story of me rebranding my business? Because there might be other people that are rebranding and that want to know, how do you do it? What do you need to do? So I just started talking about, okay, I'm changing the logo and this is, what do you think of this? Or, I'm going to be launching a new website. These are the options. And just having conversations with my audience and talking them through, this is what I'm struggling with, or this is what's going well. And then that quickly sort of started to gather more engagement. I a bit like you, Michelle, I don't like showing myself on video. It makes me cringe. But I like showing my hands. I like showing me making the things. And I like so there's always a way that you can show up. You don't necessarily have to show. I've got hands. So you can always show up, showing how you make the things or showing what you're doing. So in 2019, I rebranded. The business had been growing as well alongside that. So I had a little bit more money in the pot. So then I decided to take on a virtual assistant to support me with social media. One, because I'm still working full time. I'm a mum of 3. I'm a wife. Got to do all the stuff in the home. My mind was just, I couldn't think of everything, and trying to show up all the time and have something to say was sometimes a bit difficult. So I knew what I wanted the aesthetic of my Instagram page to look like. And I knew that I wanted to be able to showcase products. I wanted to be able to showcase the story behind the product. And I also wanted to inspire. So what I did is I asked the virtual assistant to put some posts that were some inspirational quotes, those sorts of posts, because that's pretty simple to do, but that were linked towards the Black culture, linked towards women, linked, things that resonated with me that I thought would resonate with my audience. So I got her to do those posts, and she would, do 30 posts for the month. And then I would do all of the product-based stuff, so stuff that was a bit more natural to me and that sort of thing. And then I found that then sort of helped, and that increased the reach over time. And then, so we then get to the end of, so I rebranded in 2019, got to the end of 2019, heading into 2020. And I had this plan in 2020 that it was called Operation 2020. And I wanted to be in 20 retail stores by the end of 2020. That was my goal. We write all our goals at the beginning of the year. That was my goal for the year. And then we hit March, and then we all went into lockdown. And I was like, oh, that's not going to work then, is it? And then 2 months later, the whole George Floyd's, the killing of George Floyd happened. But at that point, there was a turn. And I think if you may have noticed, there was that turn where there was a lot of sort of consciousness around Black-owned businesses and wanting to sort of highlight that the need for more representation in every industry that you touched, greeting card industry being one of those as well. So I was then being sort of, because I was more active on social media, people were then reaching out to me to say, oh, what's your opinion and that sort of thing. So on the back of that, I was approached by Waterstone's bookshop, and I became the first female Black-owned publisher to be stocked by Waterstone's bookshop. And I thought, okay, I'm going to milk this. So I worked with a PR company a lovely lady, and we wrote a press release. And then that went out. She used her networks and that went out. And then I slowly got people wanting to talk to me about, oh, they couldn't understand why this was a thing. You know, it's just a greeting card. Surely there are cards for Black people in shops, and nobody really understood why that was an issue. And so then I used that story to increase and to keep telling that story on social media. And then on the back of that, I then started thinking about, okay, this is my personal business, but in order for me to grow my business to business brand to get these cards in shops, I think I might need to show up on LinkedIn. So then I started using LinkedIn. And the funny thing about LinkedIn, I initially had 2 LinkedIn accounts. I had a personal account and I had a business account. And I was struggling to think about, I had my pharmacy sort of LinkedIn account, and then I had my AfroTouch. And I remember speaking to a business mentor, and she said to me, you don't need to have 2. Just have the one, because you can showcase every element of you. As long as your organization that you work for is happy for you to share that content and that it doesn't conflict with what they're doing, then you only need one. So then I combined everything into one social media account. So it's just Georgina. If you search for me on LinkedIn, it's just Georgina Posey. It will say strategic account manager, but then it will also say CEO of AfroTouch Design. So I started showing up on LinkedIn because I wanted to be sort of I thought it'd be good to sort of show up as a thought leader in this area around diversity and inclusion within the greeting card industry, because I had something to say. And by doing that, I caught the attention of the John Lewis buyer. And I remember she popped into the LinkedIn message thing and said, oh, that she'd seen the cards and would I be interested in a conversation? And then that was how the John Lewis and the Waitrose contract went, and now I'm stocked in John Lewis. But I say that to say, for me, it's always been about showing up and just telling the story. I'm not always consistent. Life happens. I've got 3 children. I can't always be there. But I've built enough of a community that now knows me, and now knows, oh, that sometimes I even say, oh, Georgina, we haven't seen you for 3 weeks. Are you okay? So it's about just building up. It doesn't have to be massive. You don't have to have 50,000, followers. What I try to do is build a small community, and I call them my AfroTouch tribe. So they've got a name. That's my people. They're my AfroTouch tribe. And then I try and take them off of social media and put them into my email list, because that's where I know that I have that even better relationship with them. And that's where I know, okay, they're likely to then go and buy a product. So yeah, I think that's that was pretty much what I wanted to say. I think for me, with Instagram, I think video is the way forward. I'm not now a lot better at doing reels, and using sort of to Cal's point, it's not about sort of the trend and things, but it's just about doing things that are natural for you and that will sort of support the message that you're trying to relay.
Amazing. Please, can we just clap it up for Georgina? Like, literally, that is such an inspirational story. And like, if that doesn't like move you to start to think, like, how can you break into these what like seem impossible retailers or areas or sectors that like we need to show up in? Like, that story is so encouraging. And I love that like people may not necessarily know about your brand now, but they know about your story and they can buy into that. So in the guide that I've shared, there's a discount code for Georgina's cards. There's a new collection that is all the way spangly and gorgeous. So like, please like check it out and support her and what she's doing. Support everyone that's on here. But yeah, I really just want to just like say like, yeah, hats off to you. And as I say, I've seen the journey. So like, yeah, I love what you do. Amazing. All right, guys. So I believe my brother is in the house. Are you on, Emmanuel? I think I've seen you.
I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here.
Are here. All right, hold on. I've got a load going on my screen. Is your
Before I
camera?
start, what was Kelly eating? Can Kelly come and tell us what she was eating? Because she was devouring that. I was jealous. She made me, she almost ate her fingernail. I said, wow.
What is your
What was the
problem?
food that Kelly was eating?
I was eating, first of all, I've eaten many things, okay? So first of all, I was eating crisps, okay? Then I was eating a salted caramel brownie. Then
Hey,
I was eating a focaccia with sun-dried tomato, halloumi, and avocado.
you've
You
had
should
a
be
whole
sponsored by
meal.
KFC because you was finger licking, my guy. You was on it. You was really eating
I'm
it to
a
the bone.
hungry girl. I'm a hungry
I
babe.
swear, I swear you even chewed your knuckle one time. I said,
No,
wow.
I was
Wow.
probably cleaning my finger.
Oh, that's hilarious. Emmanuel is in the building. He
He's a
needs
bad
no
person.
introduction. I'm just going to spotlight him and let him go. Go for it, bro.
All right. So, Chile, what do you want me to talk about?
So we're speaking about how social media has impacted our business, how we've touched our community, how like we've got ourselves into spaces that we probably wouldn't ordinarily be allowed into, which I know you're all the way in the space.
All the way.
All the way.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, all right. So social media, I think for me, I grew up not liking social media, not wanting Facebook. I felt like, I was too cool to be on, social media. Like, I knew people in real life. So I didn't even use Facebook. I didn't use none of this technology. But I realized that once I started a business, I needed to be able to reach people that I could more than just my friends. Because most people will tell you in business, if you ever want to have a good business, don't rely on your friends and family. They probably are not your ideal customer. And even if they are, they probably want to buy from someone else. Unfortunately, I don't know what it is, but it is what it is. So I started on social media and I started doing videos. And I think sometimes what, for me, the thing about social media was that it was like, when I came on, because I talk about finance and money and so forth, it was the background I came from was very serious. So, I used to work in the city, you have to wear a suit, only if it was really, really hot, you could not wear a tie. Other than that, it was suit and tie every day, and it was a very, this is a serious industry and, everyone must take it serious. And so I came with that energy onto social media and guess what? Nobody cared. Nobody cared. And I was like, what? I would take time and I'd be like, this is all the key parts of a pension and why you need to get a pension and what you're missing out on. And people would rather look at cats and dogs and people in bikinis. I had no hope. I had no hope. And one of the things I always tell people is that, when it comes to anything in life, like use your superpower. So my superpower is the fact that I've come from very humble beginnings. I come from, council estate, working class family, struggled from the bottom, didn't go to a great school, struggled when it came to education, but just got the gift of the gab and just always been able to talk and always been able to, be a people person. And so when it came to finance, I had to use that. But one of the things when I was in finance was that they kept trying to change me. They kept trying to tell me, no, don't talk like this. You've got to dress like this. Don't walk like that. Don't bring jollof rice. Eat your sandwich at lunchtime. It was frustrating. It was hard. That cheese and pickle. I'm just not that guy. I just can't do the cheese and pickle thing. It just wasn't working for me. And so I just realized that I had to come on social media, but I'm being myself. And so I was doing videos, and then I realized that okay, look, nobody's listening. So in a frustration one day, I just said, let me just tell people about their lives because I've tried to be nice and give you the education, but you don't want to hear it. So I decided to talk to people about the fact that, you are out here on social media, popping champagne, but the reality is you live in your mum's house, you use your mum's Wi-Fi, and, you share a bunk bed with your little bro. And, now all of a sudden people wanted to listen, and it's like, sometimes you got to create a lane. But I think the biggest thing for me on social media was the consistency. And so I kept doing it. I kept doing videos that could be shared. And what I found was it's that shareable content. Like as much as you want to give people all the knowledge. People's attention span is so short on social media because there's so many other things to flip to that you have to just give them the bite size and then hope that they'll come to an event and you can give them the full thing, or they'll come to a webinar, or they'll see you on a panel or somewhere, and so forth. And so it became very shareable. But the biggest thing for me was consistency. It was just showing up every day. Like once I left work, once I got made redundant, and once I left, I said I'm not going back. But I always realized if I could give these 8 to 10 hours Monday to Friday, sometimes even Saturday, what can I give to myself? How much hours can I put into my own business, to my own, so not only did I create content and post, I was doing lives, I was doing collaborations, I was doing talks offline, so I would go to other events, and so I was just very active. I would reply to every single comment, I would reply to all the DMs straight away, and so people would then feel like, oh, if I need help, email is just at a touch of a button. And so that's how you kind of start to build your community and so forth. But also my content stood out because there wasn't that many people in finance talking the way that I was talking. And so what happened is that one of my, again, this is through connection, one of my good friends, Bola Soul, she had auditioned for a Channel 4 show. So I got made redundant in March 2019. And then this was August 2019. She had an audition. She then, at the end of her audition, she said, oh, they asked her, do you know anyone else that does finance? I said, yeah. She said, yeah, I got my bro, E-Man, he does it. I auditioned, and that's how I got my first TV show in 2019. Now, the thing about the consistency is that we then do the TV show, do the content, roll on 2020. So the show comes out November 2019. Roll on 2020, we have lockdown, so everyone's talking about money. Then we have George Floyd, and they need a black person talking about money. And hey, that's me. And the truth is, I have not stopped doing TV, social media, everything like that since then. And even then, to the point now, and this is when I talk about full circle moments, I used to be a cashier at Barclays. I then became the youngest financial advisor in Barclays at age 22 at the time. They then made me redundant. They didn't let me redundant, but they let me know if I don't walk, they're gonna make me walk. Do you know what I mean? Nobody. It was one of those ones. They wasn't sad when I was leaving. You know, before I'd even packed my box, my job was already on the internet. You know what I mean? However, now that $1 billion company wants to reach out to people, reach out to individuals to talk about their content, and they're like, "E-man, we need you to be our ambassador. We can't reach them without you." And this is why I talk about the fact that you've got to believe yourself and what you're doing. And always, the biggest thing for me I had to understand is my vision. Like sometimes I was desperate for people to see my vision, but it's not their vision. Like it's not their vision to see either. It's my vision to see, and they'll catch up once I accomplish it, once I achieve it, once we start to reach it. And I think putting in that effort, putting in that work, got to the point where now you run your own lane. But also what's done on the way is that I look back now and I see how many financial influencers exist now. So something that when I started wasn't really a thing. You've now inspired a whole industry and a whole group of people that is inspired by what you've done to now say this is possible. And to me, that's the legacy. That's forever. You know what I mean? And it just means that we are now accepted. The other day I was watching Steph's Packed Lunch, and I saw Tayo, who does Brick with Tips, and Kia, and both of them I've helped along the way. And now they're on national television giving personal finance and mortgage advice on TV. And so for me, that's what it's about. It's more than just yourself. It's that sometimes we have to understand that the reason that we need to go, we might just have to go first, but the reason we need to go first is so other people know it's possible. You know, that Nelson Mandela always says, it always seems impossible till it's done. And actually, for a lot of us, the industries that we're in, the things that we're doing, it may seem really hard, but we have to understand that we're going to be the first. And we're going to be the ones to open the door to allow others to know, okay, this is something I can do. This is something, if I take serious, I can actually leave my job and do this as a full-time career. And so it's so important that, yes, it's hard. Yes, there will be hurdles, but understand that, you might just have to do it so people know that it's possible. And now, for me, it's now, look, I just released a book 3 months ago called Get Your Money Right. I hate writing, and now I've written a book. I've also got a kids book coming out next year with a different publisher coming out next year. we're doing, like I said, I'm the ambassador for a whole Barclays Bank, you know what I mean? And you know, do talks at schools, universities, colleges, workplaces. And this all started from just doing videos in my bedroom, just trying to make a difference. So sometimes, you know, one thing I always say is don't belittle the early start. Sometimes when we're starting and you're doing, like when I first did my videos, I was putting it out there, you got 4 likes, 3 of them live in your house. It can be painful. You know, it can be painful. One of them's a bot. You know what I mean? It's like, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? It's painful. It hurts. Do you know what I mean? But actually, all of those things, it doesn't really matter as much, because actually you are practicing so that when you get on that stage, when the opportunity comes, you're able to take it. And so all those videos, it didn't even matter. I was speaking to Paul Brunson from, you know, Married at First Sight and Celebs Go Dating, and he was saying that he started doing stuff on YouTube about relationships, and he only had like 4 or 5 views, but one of those views was Oprah, and that changed his whole life. So sometimes when you're doing your content, it doesn't matter how many people see it. It's all about who's seeing it. And that's the importance. And you know what the last week was saying about the fact that she went onto LinkedIn. Like sometimes actually we have to think. Like I had to learn. I hate Twitter, but I had to understand for a period of time that a lot of journalists and a lot of people in the media use Twitter. So I had to start using Twitter in order to get that media exposure, in order to get those newspaper articles. Now they come to me, but at a period of time, I had to understand if I wanted to get, you know, PR, and I wanted to get all of this stuff so that I could be in a newspaper and be in other mediums, I had to be on certain platforms. So it's really important for you to understand that, forget the followers on Instagram. If they're not making you any money, where are the people, where are the decision makers for your business? That's where you need to be. That's who you need to be speaking to. And you don't need that many people. Like you really, like when I think about it, you know, as much as I've got quite a few followers, the reality is probably the same 300-400 people that like, comment, you know what I mean, share my videos every single day. Do you know what I mean? And actually to them, you might as well be David Beckham or whoever, do you know what I mean? Whatever, because they consume what you say and so forth. So you don't need to have like a huge amount of people. You just need to have people that believe in what you're doing and making a difference, and it will spread and the change will come. But yeah, that's my kind of social media journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That was like funny as we knew it was going to be, but like always filled with value and nuggets. There was so much in what you shared. So thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you. The next speaker that I'm going to bring up, I became friends with this lady in lockdown. We went through a program together, let's say, and we spent the lockdown every Sunday together. And it's been amazing watching her journey and her growth online. So I will let her fill you in. I'm just going to spotlight Natalie. And please, Nat, go ahead and share.
Wow, my bald head is really shining. Wow.
You're looking good, girl. Don't worry.
Hi, everyone. I am Natalie Remy. I am a fitness professional. I like to call myself a fitness professional because I do many things. I have many hats in the fitness profession, but I do them all well. Yeah. So I don't know. So we're talking, excuse me, because I came in late and I did read the stuff, Shalina, sorry, but my daughter had me out. So my journey, social media, to be honest, I really struggled with social media. I struggled with Instagram. I struggled with what the last speaker was talking about, in sense of like I was putting out videos and only getting like a few likes and only a few views. And then that can be really disheartening. And then so you know that you should be consistent, but then when you are putting out the things, it's like you feel like no one's watching. But it's exactly that, because I did watch Paul Brunson's podcast where he had said, yeah, like he started in his bedroom and he bought all the equipment. He actually I think he was made redundant and he used all these savings and no one was watching. No one was watching for a year. Like the same dead 5 people were watching, but Oprah happened to be one of them. I only learned that story a few months ago, so it is true. So I think for me, when I started being consistent, obviously in lockdown, I was forced to do what everybody else was doing, which was now teaching fitness online, which was very different for me because I am actually a person who likes to see people. I like to talk to people, engage with people, and online it's very different. And I have a lot of energy in person teaching, but to bring that same fitness online and through Insta when you cannot see who is jumping up and who is exercising with you, it is very different. So I had to learn that skill set fast, fast, fast. But I think the benefit of, I think what was good for me is I have that energy, but it was different in the sense of learning that it's not the same as in person, if that makes sense. So I guess after lockdown, I guess engagement increased. Now I'm on my stories. Even now I get frustrated, but I'm frustrated by what people think is good views, what makes good views. So I would say that it's before I was doing it and I was posting what I thought looked good. Yeah, I used to post content for me, but actually you got to post content for what is your audience. So even sometimes on my posts, what people like, for some reason people like to hear me talk shit and just talk things as it is and say things as it is. And that for me gets more views than me lifting up 120 pound, 120 kg weights. And that's like frustrating because to do that is hard work, yeah. And I lift up that bar and I'm like, I lift up this bar, let me post up. Wow, treble figures. Look at me the squat. And then I'll only get like 50 views. If I post me talking about my cat, talking about how someone did cheese me off, you want to see how much in the things, how much engagement. And I'm like, hold on a minute, but did you not see the squat? Did you not see the deadlift? Wait. Did you not see the energy? So that tells me it is, people want to know, I don't know, people want to know about me, what's behind me. Mm-hmm. So it is, okay, they are inspired when they see me in the gym, they see me teaching, they see how I look, but they actually want to see more of me. And I have struggled because social media can be scary because I think social media emboldens people in the wrong way. So I'm always like scared of, like, I don't know what people will think, even though I know I shouldn't be, worried about trolls, worrying about what other so-called influencers in my area are doing. But I try not to do that. I try not to do that anymore and just focus on me. And that what I have is actually unique. So I post more for what my audience likes and what works. And not just what back in the day before lockdown, I was posting more of like what I felt looked good, i.e. the squats. No one cares. So what people are more interested in, and I guess maybe you guys would tell me, is they want to know things about nutrition, habits that they can engage. People don't know what to eat. I work with females only, what to eat, when to eat, how to eat. Engaging with other people that are like me, other women that are like me, that are busy, working mums, single mums. Like, how do you fit it in, and how do you also like maintain your mental health, because your mental health is just as important as your physical health. In fact, if you don't have your physical health means nothing. So it's about that, trying to get a whole kind of like wellness feel to me and speak to that. So I feel like I understand my audience more, and once I understood that more, then my content kind of changed towards that, if that makes sense. Am I supposed to say anything else, Shalina? Or is that it? Everyone knows something more.
No, keep going. You've got time.
Okay. So what else would you say? What I don't know what people want to know.
Yeah. So I think in terms of you saying sort of you've understood your audience more, is that because like they're conversating in the DMs, or is it from comments? How are you knowing like what?
Yeah, I'm really good. Like the last gentleman said, is that it warms me that I have the same hundreds of people that come in and actually engage, and they come in my DMs. They come in my DMs and they'll laugh at my content. They'll engage, or if I've noticed where more I've actually put the talking. So the videos that I would do on my stories, I almost hide on my stories, because your main feed is much more. Whereas I know that in my stories, my people are for me. Like, they know me, they've been following me, they watch my journey. So I actually feel safer when I'm posting my videos in my stories than I do on my main feed. But if you look on my main feed now, I have a few videos that for some people, when I said stop eating, turn your lips left, that's wow. Do you know what I mean? That really hit a chord. I was just being honest. So I just find I'm talking about things that people also do and experience that drives engagement. So it gets a conversation going. It gets a conversation going on my main feed, and it gets a conversation going on in my stories, and that kind of I guess that kind of works. So also what I do sometimes is I test out my content on my Facebook. So I don't use my Facebook quite so much. Actually, I don't use it, but sometimes I post my videos on there, and when I see that it spikes, I'll be like, yeah, okay, that's safe. Okay, let's put it let's put it onto the stories, and then put it onto the main feed. So I kind of do it like that. And then yeah, it's just like pushing it to what people what females want to see, and just what are conversation starters, and what people can resonate with. I think in lockdown, I know for sure what resonated was, I lost my dad in lockdown, in lockdown, and I was quite vulnerable and open, and I did 2 posts on that, and it was phenomenal, the amount of engagement, because we all experienced something similar, or had someone or lost someone inside of lockdown. So for me personally, lockdown was, thank you. So for me, lockdown, I was not able to visit my dad in hospital. I was not able to bury him properly. Nobody was able to console me. No, because you couldn't see, no one could touch. By the time I'd arranged everything, I had to do it in isolation. It was a trauma upon a trauma. So coming on here, and then I was absent off of the social media, but I felt like it was disingenuous to come back on social media and start jumping about and start doing fitness without saying, you know what, guys, if I'm really honest, my dad died one day, he was just gone. Then I had to go through the whole thing, but everybody could relate. And then it was quite, I don't know if you remember, Sheena, that was a big conversation starter. And then it was that whole discourse around, why do we prepare for birth, but we never prepare for death? Why do we have antenatal appointments, screening, we have workshops, we have all of this, even postnatal care? We prepare mothers to give birth, and what it will look like, and how to navigate, but we don't actually talk about death. We just don't talk about it. I didn't know, okay, so how am I supposed to plan a funeral? Where am I supposed to go? Like, how do I do this? Because actually, nobody else was able to physically help me, because we were inside the lockdown, and it was really, really tough. So again, that's a really good example of what was a massive conversation starter, but because everybody could relate to it, that's why it was a conversation starter, and that's why people related, and it had the most engagement. But I don't know what I was thinking in hindsight. Because I don't know whether right now, if something happened that was vulnerable, that I would just jump on. But I think then there was nothing else. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing else. So what else are we gonna do? Everybody just out here on Instagram together, man. Let me go. Fun or no fun? Let's just switch on. Who's on today? All right, now. So, what's happened to Nat? She looks a bit. Oh, sorry. And then everyone start. So I guess my takeaway for everybody would be that, what is, for your audience, what is the conversation starter? And for me, being vulnerable and talking about vulnerable things. Oh yeah, in lockdown, I talked about my kids. I talked about how they were getting on my nerves. I don't like my kids. And hats off to the teachers. Them. I came on and I said, so how come my kids are in my home now, and they're not using their school stomach? Their school stomach is not using, what is going on? And then everybody was like, yeah. my child is saying, I'm bored. Okay, go find skirting board. Like what is happening here? So I said that I feel like what we should remember, if you're just honest and like be yourself. So at first I was scared to just be myself, because myself is, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. But I say things as it is. And the older I've got, I really don't have no filter. So maybe for some parents, it's like, how could you say you don't like your kids? No, I don't like my kids. I've gone on holiday without my kids. Where's your kids? I don't know. I don't care. Do you miss your kids? No, absolutely not. I don't. Why do I miss my kids? I see my kids every single day. I'm a single mom. I see them every day. No. So do you miss your kids? No, I don't know. I don't know. So, but when you say things like that, people like, oh yeah, it's true. And you get a bit of laughter. They'll be like, oh, I don't feel so bad now. I don't feel so bad. So I think if you just say the truth, and whatever your vulnerability is, I've had highs, I've had lows, and I have actually come and I've shared some of those experiences on the social media, and then that has helped for people to either recognize me. And then I guess last year, the main thing was social media. I took off all my hair. I had enough. I just had enough. I had enough of being a slave to the wigs and that life and my fitness style. I struggled many years for alopecia, and I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm done. So I just said, I'm done. So I practiced that. Like, I told my nearest and dearest, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I used to go to work with the lace front, but eventually I didn't care. So sometimes the wig would just be like, and I'd be like, wow, now you don't even care to be in the gym. I said, you know what? I don't care anymore. So it's time for this wig to come off. So I knew I was going to do it. And then I did a big photo shoot, and I did a big reveal, and I did a statement. And I was like, guys, because I was worried I was doing my job. If I'm doing modeling, if I'm doing fitness, I get hired to do events. I was recognized for my body, but also my hair, even dancing, like, I used to fling this lace for, wow. Now, now when I'm dancing, what am I going to fling? Just my Maltese head. So I was like, how are we gonna do this thing now? But I put it together, and I was like, right, this is what I'm gonna do. And then my friends were like, okay, no, Nat, is this it? And so far, not one single body has said you look better with it. I said, so wait, you couldn't tell me? You couldn't tell me that the lace that okay, so I've not gone back. So again, I use social media to test. That was quite honest. I know that really, I can laugh now, but I was really nervous. I put the pictures up, I pressed send, and I put my phone on flight mode. And then my friend was like, no, Nat, it's doing really well, I promise you. I was like, no, I can't look. I think I didn't look for like 24 hours, and he's like, no. It's really good. So I think now, in thinking about it, for me, social media has worked where I've been honest, I've been vulnerable, I've been transparent, and I have just been me. Although at some points I have been afraid to just be me in case, and obviously being a Black female on the social media, being a dark-skinned Black female in fitness, I have had my struggles. And so I have been hesitant to do it. So it hasn't always been easy, although it might present that way. I'll talk to enough, Shalina.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Natalie. You've come in, and like the thread has even continued, even though you wasn't here at the beginning, but just authenticity, being
that's the word.
A human, just being a person. There's definitely a thread with everything that's been shared. So yeah, bless you. Thank you so much for even being vulnerable on here and sharing. I really, really appreciate you and you coming on and sharing with us.
Thank you.
Right, guys, so we've been sat for a little while. So I'm gonna say, let's take a minute, stretch your legs, get some water. If you haven't dropped in the chat your social media handles, take the time to do that, because I'm going to pull together a directory of everyone who is on the call, so we can continue the conversation. We can go on and check each other out. So definitely do that. I'm giving you guys like 60 seconds. So stretch your legs, get some water, and time. Go. Hey, the alarm literally has just gone off. So that's the minute, guys. That was the 60 seconds. I hope you're back. So we are going to move into the panel discussion. So I have some questions that I want to put to the panel. So let me just wake my mouse up because she seems to have gone asleep. All right, guys, like, have you lot found this useful? Like, feel free to unmute and just...
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to all of our speakers just how amazing and feeling so inspired, and just somebody just sent me this because she knows that I really struggle. I don't struggle. The thing is, I can talk and I can present, although, you know, my background, I'm still in social work. But it's the technical stuff, because like I said, I never had Facebook. Even when the phones come out for ages, my kids used to, when are you going to even get a phone? Do you know what I mean? I didn't even like, so for me, that was the struggle. But it's just been so amazing so far. I've got so many notes. I'm feeling so inspired by all your stories and everything that you've said has just helped me so much. So thank you so much.
I'm so pleased that you came on and shared that. I'm glad that whoever shared it with you shared it, and that you were able to jump on and get some value.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries, no worries. All right, so we are going to just move into just a quick like panel discussion. I'll throw out some questions and anyone can respond, or if I feel like someone would be better to respond. We kind of touched on like not sharing what you don't necessarily want to share. And I want to know how you guys, or if like security, safety, privacy is a thing, how you kind of guard your family, how like do you share your family? How do you navigate that space on social media?
So for me, because I do events and it's not so not necessarily the women, but the men, I don't share exactly where I am until after I've gone there and come back, because I have a few crazies, and it's to safeguard me. So it's strange because actually sometimes I need to advertise where I am, especially if I'm doing events or teaching somewhere or someone has hired me. But I am very conscious that you just never know. So I always wait till I'm back till I post. So when I was away recently, and if people did ask me, but the people that asked me in my DMs, then I would say, this is because, oh, wherever you stay looks really nice, would you recommend it? Those people, I would say where I was, but I wouldn't just say in my stories, oh, this is where I am, because you just never know. With my kids, they're teens, so it's they get on my nerves because they just post everything on Snapchat and TikTok anyway. They don't care about privacy. Like everything is everything. So I ask them, they're not really on my social media, but I just ask their permission. So I think they're a bit different because they're older. So it doesn't really, I mean, the same kind of safeguarding doesn't apply because they're just out. They got, if they could have their whole front on living the social media, they would. You just got to just be on them. No, but they would. These girls, they're just wild out here. I just got to be on them. At least you just dropped 2 of them off just now. You'd be talking in anyway. Let me not stop. So it's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing. So Michelle and Georgina, you both shared that you're introverts. So how do you navigate the space with like not oversharing, but like sharing at a level that you're comfortable with and you can still build connection? How are you doing that? Either of you.
I actually found it really interesting that myself and Georgina, who are both healthcare professionals, are also introverts. There must be some correlation there, I think.
And then the 2 finance people are all the way.
There must be some as well. No, I'm an introvert as well. I just want everyone to know that. I'm genuinely.
I didn't get that.
Genuinely, in my life, I am an introvert.
Didn't get that.
But for me, I talked about the children's books, and those children's books were inspired by my children. And part of the reason for writing them was because I wanted also to see Black representation in the books. And just to share a really quick story, so the illustrator that we used, when she did the drafts for my children's books, she sent them to me, and the children were white boys, and I said, you know, this is lovely, but these are not my kids. I need these children in this book they are my kids. The books represent them. They are about them. They have to look like my kids. So one of the ways in which I protect their privacy in terms of being online and talking about the books is the names in the books are not actually their real names. They are just names that we made up for the book. And I don't really post facial pictures of them online because I think they are too young for me to make that choice on their behalf. I feel like, when you have teenagers, it's different because they can kind of navigate it a little bit better and make that choice to be online and you supervise. Whereas for me, for my young kids, it would be just me putting them on. And I just, as an introvert, that is like a big no. Like I can't bring myself to do it. So they are on there, but they're not their faces. So, and I'm comfortable with that level of exposure.
I think for me, I talk a lot about my family without, so I feel like you can share your stories by talking about them without necessarily having to put them in your videos. I think it just depends on how comfortable you are with things. I'm not opposed to people putting, showing up with their kids and things, but I think for me, I prefer to just talk about a situation. So I remember talking about the first time my daughter saw one of the cars in the shops and how excited she was. I didn't necessarily have to interview her and say, oh, Maya, how did you feel about this? But actually talking about it is enough for the audience to get a feel for you and your family and that sort of thing. So that's how I sort of get through it.
Awesome. All right. The next question that I want to
Shalina?
Go ahead, Iman. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just trying to be patient. I'm waiting for my turn.
Come true, Uncle Iman.
In my thing, I show my family a lot. I guess because I talk about wealth and generational wealth. I think it's really important to show the Black family. I think I've got 4 kids as well with the same woman. Whenever I say that, everyone asks me, "Is it with the same woman?" Yes, it's with the same woman. So it's one of those things that for me, I feel like it's important to show, Black family. I also show that, we're here because I feel like a lot of the time it is very much like we're all single parents or no one's together, we're all separated, but actually that's not the case. My wife works in my business as well, and I do stuff with my kids. When I teach lessons to my kids, I put it on there and they can share certain things, and I think that's important. And I've had a lot of feedback from especially young Black males that will talk to me and be like, I didn't grow up with a dad, but you make me want to be married. You make me want to have a family and so forth, seeing you. So for me, I do have sometimes worry, obviously, security, and I wouldn't necessarily show them in their school uniform and stuff like that. But I would definitely, put them out there, and I let them, if they like the other day, my daughter lost her tooth, and I gave her £2, and she looked at me sideways and said it wasn't enough. And I felt like I had to share this on social media because we was getting 20p and skipping. You know what I mean? And now £2 is not enough. So these are the types of things that we share and let people know and have it. So I definitely there's a balance to it. But I do agree sometimes you do feel nervous about putting your kids out there because people will see them and stuff like that. But then again, my kids come to my events. They're always around. Just for them, like babysitting is hard. So we just drag them everywhere.
Yeah, I get that. My kids are grown-ish, so yeah, not so. And to be fair, they're kind of camera shy, which is difficult. But what I wanted to move on to was I did a video where I was like kind of doing a little skit just because, and I was talking about like how our friends and our family can often be the reason why we don't show up online. you know, their perceptions or their judgments. How has like your friends, your families, your colleagues impacted your social media? Has it influenced the way that you show up because you know Auntie Susu is watching?
I would just tell you to ignore everyone, because that's just how I go about my life. I suppose if you're to take it really seriously, like my mom is a reverend, and people probably fall over when they realize that my mom is a reverend. but or they say the pastor's kids are the wildest. But genuinely, I post whatever is relevant to me. So half my mom's church actually follow me, which is quite worrying. And sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. I'm like, hold on, it's my platform. If they don't want to see me cussing people in the morning, they will just hit unfollow. But guess what? They don't, because again, people are nosy. So whether your aunties and uncles are watching and they're going to be sad, if they're sad, come off the app. You're probably old anyway. So just do what you want to do, guys. I'm not even joking. Do what you want.
I love that. Anyone else have an opinion or like?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about, so for me, I was really nervous about sharing the business on LinkedIn. I think I spoke to you about initially having the two profiles and then being told, actually, no, just have the one, because I was just worried about my corporate people. What would they think about me having this sort of side hustle and that sort of thing? But actually, they were so excited about seeing what I was doing and seeing the other side. And a lot of them are the ones that were commenting on the LinkedIn posts and things like that. So sometimes it's what you have in your head. It's you don't think, what you think is going to happen is not what the reality of it really is. And it's never as bad as you think it is. So actually they've also helped support and promote the brand and things like that. So yeah, I think that was one of the things I was initially worried about, was with LinkedIn, how do I present the business alongside the corporate job that I already have?
Yeah. No, that's been a concern for me. And I think that sort of apprehension that people think, oh, you're not committed to your 9 to 5. Like if you're building this thing on the side, then how can you be committed to your job? Or are you actually doing your job? Maybe you're just building the business. So I think for LinkedIn especially, yeah, and that is the case why people tend to have these two profiles, and really you're showing one side of yourself and people can't really buy in and get behind you because they can know your whole story. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just think I think when I start sharing, I think sometimes what I would say from the other flip side is that when it came to friends, sometimes you doing something that people aren't doing sometimes makes them look at themselves, and it can be difficult. So what I found, especially with my group of friends, like obviously growing up, E-Man's the joker, the funny guy in the group, you know, whatever. But obviously out of my group of friends, I was probably the poorest. You know what I mean? I always had the nicest. I never had the nice trainers. I always had the worst trainers. I always had everything late. When everyone I was wearing LA gear when nobody was wearing it no more. You know, like I was just always late with the things because my mum was buying from the market, and the market get the reject stuff. Do you know what I mean? So your friends grow a certain perception of you, and then when you now do stuff on social media and they're like, oh wow, this thing's going, or you're doing, it can sometimes make them look at themselves and say, oh, have I been wasting my life? Like, how come this guy that I know, like, if he can do it, I have no excuse, but I'm not doing it. And sometimes it can cause tension. Like, it can cause issues where I found personally, like, a lot of my friendships, it kind of died for a period, like, literally died until the point where I got so successful, they got amnesia. Like, do you know what I mean? They just got amnesia and forgot that they didn't like me anymore. And all of a sudden, you know, they love you because you're people because their friends are sending them your videos. Do you know what I mean? And it's almost like, and then they're telling me, oh, but E-Man, oh, we went to school together, or we grew up together, and all of a sudden they're claiming you, and now they're getting secondhand fame. So now they've got to be your friend again. But for me, I find that most of it is like LinkedIn was very difficult. So I was scared to post on LinkedIn because I felt like I'm a financial advisor posting tips. What if other financial advisors who I have all over LinkedIn and all my old companies, what if they think what I'm doing, like, what if they disagree? Imagine if they think that my methods are rubbish. Like, but the reality is all I ever got was DMs like, oh mate, I wish I could do this. I ended up having to do little classes with some of my other financial advisor friends to teach them how to get started and how to create videos. And actually, it was the total opposite. So, like you said, sometimes it's in the mind. You kind of put these things in your head. But I think you can't care about anyone. That if you want to go and do it, go and do it, and everybody else will catch up over time.
Yeah. Totally agree. Totally agree. All right. So the next thing I want to just unpack a little bit is around, like, we spoke about, like, knowing what your followers want. Like, how do you ensure that you're giving value? Do you have like any strategies, or, as I said to Kelly, is it just vibes you're going on? Like, how do the rest of us do it? How do you make sure you're delivering value? Speak all at once.
That's a hard one, because I think we all probably they're thinking, are we really delivering value? Yeah, I mean, I think it comes back to number one, being your authentic self. And it almost ties into the previous question, because if you are being your authentic self and you are able to be what I consider your whole self, you don't have to like sort of partition parts of yourself for one audience, and partition another part for the work people, and partition, like, you just are able to be your whole self, and people find that valuable, then you are more and more encouraged to keep being your authentic self and keep sharing. I think, Natalie talked about that, elements that she felt nervous to share, and people really embraced and resonated with it. And I think when you do that and you realize that, you are actually helping somebody, even if it's just one or two people, it's not even about the numbers, it's about the impact that you're having on individual lives. I think that gives you so much motivation to just keep sharing what you've shared that has impacted somebody. And, DMs are a really nice way of connecting deeply with people and individually with people, and listening to what their struggles are, and kind of understanding what they want from your content without necessarily asking, what do you want from my content? So it's a really nice way of figuring out what people's needs are. The other thing I wanted to say is that I've been spending a lot of time looking in like Facebook groups and seeing what the challenges are there. What are the comments like? What are people asking? What sort of questions are they asking? What are they struggling with? And it shows up in Facebook groups a lot, because obviously they are concentrated places where people have that particular struggle or have that particular problem that you are trying to help them solve. And so that's a really nice way to see where the struggles are and to see whether your content is actually answering those questions. So yeah, that's what I've been trying so far. I wouldn't really say it's been a massive success, but that's what I'm trying at the moment.
I think social listening is really big, because like, people feel safe to share, especially in a group, because it's not on a feed for everybody to see. They're in a group with people who have the same interests, the same struggles, their mums, their business owners, they're going to share. So you just sitting and listening quietly allows you to create that content to add value. And then when you kind of share and post it, they're like, oh, like, are you like reading my mind? How did you know? No, I've just been listening to you. I've just been listening. Does anyone else want to input into how are you adding value?
I would say for me it's the actual looking at. So for me, I'm using Instagram, so you can see on the insights. So I can see from the insights what videos people are liking and what are people talking about and what are people saving. For me, I can see that people are saving certain particular types of workouts that I do. Typically core and abs are being saved more, and like I had said before, it's conversations that people can connect with. Those are the ones that get the most engagement. But also what I try to do at least once a week is run a poll. So if I run a poll on my stories, and I might ask the question like, what are your fitness struggles? What are your typical fitness struggles? So before me training in the gym and I'm going in the gym, I'll say, what are your fitness struggles? Or a particular type of question. So I get more questions. There are certain questions that I get asked all the time, which then hence lead me to make a certain post about stop asking me these questions if you're not prepared to do the work that comes with it, because I'm very tired. But when I said it like that, it got the most engagement, which is, you know, for this group, it's not how can I get abs? Okay, so what are you eating? What are you doing? Are you doing the things that I've told you to do? And are you doing them consistently? It's no. Okay, go back, come back when it's done. So it's running the polls and then seeing what people are struggling with the most, and then going back to the question. So another one up for me, I always get asked, should I be taking protein shakes? How can I get my protein uptake? Or I'm dropping carbs. Should I be dropping carbs? So when those questions, or it might be at a certain time of the year, certain questions come up. So then I use that to then lead my story or my post and then talk about that.
Amazing.
I love it. I love that. And I agree with that as well. Like, ride the wave. So what I do is that, for example, Beyonce had a concert and people are spending like £200 or £300 to buy a ticket. I'm going to do a video on that, and it's going to do well because people are already talking about it. The algorithm already knows. So as long as I do a video on it, I mentioned it's going to get shares. People are going to laugh. People are going to smile. And I'm going to be cussing people because people love get cussed. So, you know, I will be talking about the fact that you're buying Beyonce tickets, but you're in your overdraft. Ooh, it's painful. But this is what's going to make people share. So there are natural ways that you can write. You don't always have to go against the grain. Do you know what I mean? If there are things that work within what you do, within your industry, ride it. I think that's important. I think also for me, I give like free I'm really busy now, but as much as I can, I try and get free telephone calls, like initial 15-minute calls, just so I understand what's going on the street. What are people actually going through? So that I know that, okay, if these are the pain points for people, I can actually create content around that as well. Also, you know, ask me a question. That always blows off, but you need to have a day off. Like, you need to have a day when you're just not doing anything else. And then you just ask me a question. And then I always find that my stories will just go crazy. So, you know, then all of a sudden you've got thousands of views in your stories, you know what I mean? But yeah, so ask me a question. What I then do is, if I see there's a lot of questions that are similar, now I've got content to create. Now, what I do now also is that my top videos of the last like 3 or 4 weeks, I will take those topics, I will put it into GPT and say, what are similar topics? What are similar content that I can do? Or tell me a similar reel that I can do to this for this type of topic. And it will give me like 4 or 5 different options that I can then use. So sometimes you don't have to kill your brain trying to work out. You can take what people already talk about, put into ChatGPT, and it will tell you. Sometimes even if you ask it it will give you a script. It will give you a whole script for your video. So it will just tell you exactly what to say, and then you can just say it in your own words. So use the technology around you as well to help, but also collaboration. When you are starting to grow your social media, the best thing you can do is do lives. Do lives, do joint posts, use people who maybe have a bigger community than you, or people who have also growing on there, to get cross-pollination. So where there's no, especially if there's no competition in regards to what you're offering and what they're offering, try and grow together as opposed to separate, because sometimes we are fighting to get these clients, but somebody already has it. So for example, I do finance. It makes sense for me to be talking to accountants or solicitors and do content with them. So because their audience can use my service. So look at also who are people that, with what you're going to offer, what are other companies or other people that have similar services or have your ideal client, and see, can you collaborate with them online, even if it's a live, then their audience gets to know you and so forth.
Question for you on that. In terms of like approaching people for collabs, you know, I think it was Isare was saying, like, we kind of look up and try to go for the people that are way ahead of us, but maybe look like to your left and to your right. When people kind of approach you, how do you kind of decide, I don't know, I know you've got a big heart and you're just like wanting to help your people, but do you kind of have to think about those types of things, like the I don't know?
Yeah, I think sometimes people have to have to understand, like, you got 100 followers and you want us to do a live, like, take it easy, like, you know, let's behave ourselves, like, you know, and you want it to do it for free, like, what's the benefit to me?
Yeah.
Like, you understand? Sometimes people are just rude. It's like, it's all benefiting you and no benefit to me. Like, do you understand? But yet, I can't say no when I've been on here for 6 years to grow my audience. Do you know what I mean? And you've been on here for 6 minutes, and now all of a sudden, like, do you know what I mean, or whatever. So I feel like you got. But also for me, I do a lot. If I see people working hard and I see them putting in the game and they're doing stuff, then let's do it. Do you know what I mean? But if you just got here and you think all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, let's help our travel out as a community, bruv, you need to do some more helping. One thing I find is a lot of people that reach out to me to do lives, they've been following me, they've been reposting my content. Sometimes you got to be intentional. If I like, when I, like, Bola Soul, who I mentioned earlier, who gave me the hookup for my first TV show, when I came on and saw her stuff, I just started posting her stuff. I started commenting on her posts. I started going to her events. I bought her merchandise and posted it on my page. Like, she had to know me. Do you know what I mean? So now that we've then built a relationship, without me even talking to her, she's mentioning me on conversations that I'm not there. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So before you go, if you want someone who has a platform to promote you, what are you doing to show the benefit, to actually get to know them, other than the fact that you just followed them today? Like, imagine people ask me, let's do a live, and it will tell me on Instagram, this person followed you 6 minutes ago. Are you well? Are you okay? Like, it's not gonna happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's really important that you understand, because sometimes people don't understand the years that it took to get here. And it's not that it's gatekeeping. What it's about is understand that, like, you know, I have to see you put in the work. Because imagine now I promote you and then people go and follow you, and then you go off. All of a sudden, even that person that you were doing a live with, they're not serious. Now I'm looking not serious. Do you know what I mean? It's very important for me to be able to see a catalog and a backlog of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and why we should collaborate together. Do you know what I mean? And if it's not me, sometimes I will send people like, oh, you know what? I'm not your guy. Like, people do events. Eman, can you speak at my event? Yeah, sure. This is my fee. Oh, I can't afford that. Don't worry. I've got some people around. Right. You just gone to, you know what I mean? You've gone straight Premier League. You need to start Division 1 and 2. You know, you've gone straight. Like, you can't come to the Premier League yet. You know, go to the lower football leagues first. When you build up, then you can come here. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. I get it. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. I want to open it up to the attendees. If anyone has any questions, I'm gonna unspotlight you guys. Just raise your hands if you are wanting to ask a question, and if you're shy, then you can put it in the chat. That's not a problem. Let's start removing, because I want to see everybody. And if you're asking a question, it would be good if you put your camera on so we can see who we're speaking to. Does anyone have any questions? This is when everyone goes shy.
Oh, we've got our hands up.
Oh, you do? All right, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if I had mine first. I don't know. Shall I go first?
Please go ahead.
So what I wanted to ask, so I really know that I need to start doing like reels and videos, and how long are we, like, how long should they be on average? Because I know everyone says that, you know, people's attention span is short. So, like, what do you recommend we should start with? Like, how long should we try and do them for? Because obviously I'm going to try and practice first, because I'm nervous about that. But how long should they be for?
I'd say the shorter the better.
Okay.
I tried doing the long reels, the whole, is it minute and a half? Nobody's got time for that. It needs to be 10 seconds. I did one literally of me coming down my stairs, and it wasn't a reel that I intended to do. My son was coming back from work experience. I was filming myself coming down the stairs to greet him. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put that to an audio. It was 10 seconds. I think there's been like 4,000 views on it. Like, just short and snappy, I would say. Please go ahead. Anyone else who wants to chip in?
Yeah, try and keep them relatively short. So, you know, 15 seconds, I think maximum probably about 30 seconds, but just something. A lot of mine tend to be to music. So I might be just showing making something, and then there'll be like a little bit of music in the background, and then I might have like a little call to action or asking the audience to do something. But yeah, the quicker, the shorter, the better, really.
Okay, thank you.
Marva, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. Okay. Hi,
Oh,
everyone. And
sorry, before we go on, sorry, Marva, sorry, I just wanted to add to the real question. Cheat on the reel, which what I do, film 10, 15 minutes, and then you will just find nuggets. So rather than trying to do a 1 minute video or 30-second video is so difficult. Just talk about a topic, whatever the topic is, for 10, 15 minutes, and then go back and watch and be like, oh, you could just take up 15 seconds, 20, 30 seconds max. But I found the sweet spots around 20, nothing more than 20. But if it's 30 seconds, it needs to be 30 seconds. But it's very difficult to just do just a 30-second video. So do a longer one, and then it makes it easier for you to then find nuggets and post. Sorry, Marva. Sorry.
that's all right. Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everyone on the panel and for all your insights. My question has to do with how do you manage to stop from getting overwhelmed with different social media platforms and just the grind of creating content, and also, partly knowing as well where to focus your energies, because I just find myself in a cycle of I'll do like spurt of stuff and get all enthusiastic or whatever, and then I get completely exhausted, and then I'll stop for a while, and then I really struggle to find consistency. And I know, yes, you schedule stuff and whatever, but sometimes I feel like even though that helps on one level, it does help. But then I also feel like it kind of restricts the creativity, and like sometimes you just want to maybe switch to different platforms or media, or you have a good idea, but I don't know, I haven't found that kind of sweet spot of how to kind of keep on top of all of that. So I don't know if anyone has any suggestions.
I think you have to honor the season that you're in. And I think for me, sometimes I am all in. Sometimes I'll go through weeks where I'm, constantly on it. And then other weeks I'm like, no, I need to take a step back. But you don't have to be on everything. And it goes back to what we were saying at the beginning. Find the one where your people are, find the one that you feel most comfortable with, and build it there. You don't have to be on Twitter. You don't have to be on, LinkedIn. You don't have to be on everything.
Yeah.
But find where your people are, and wherever they are, then that's where you need to, you need to show up and just do things that are comfortable, sort of for you.
But if I use the example of say TikTok, like, because I do children's books, and for a long time, like the kind of thinking was, especially in the last couple of years, is like you have to be on Book Talk, and TikTok is the way. I can't do this 2-3 times a day TikTok business. It's just exhausting. I can barely flip through TikTok as a punter myself, much less for creating content. So I just can't bring myself to, but then I feel like I see other authors like killing it on there. Okay, they may be in different genres to me, but it's just not me. But I kind of have this back and forth with myself. Well, should I try? Should I not? But I just know instinctively it's not that platform's not for me. But it's these kinds of dilemma that I feel like I'm kind of dealing with all the time.
Can I just say that first of all, on the topic of keeping up with the grind of it all, I think is what you said. And I think that as somebody who has had to keep on motivating myself to do something that was not just hard but long, like it's a long game. And at times, you just think, well, what is the point of this? It's not getting any return, or I could just feel like giving up on this. I think the key thing that keeps grounding me, and when I say long game, I was more referring to my PhD, but you know, when you think about how do you stay motivated, how do you keep on going when you just want to give up? And I think it just takes you right back to the why. You know, why are you doing what you are doing? Who are you serving with this content that you're creating? What is the best way to do that in alignment with who you are? Because there's no point in trying to force yourself to be doing something that isn't coming naturally to you, isn't authentic to you. It will show in the content probably anyway. And like you said, you may just be posting because you want to just keep feeding the algorithm all the time. I think you should just be authentically yourself. And if TikTok is not your vibe, then don't be on TikTok. Just go where you feel comfortable, because where you're comfortable and where your audience is, you know, able to consume content that is of value to them from you, I think that's more helpful than just, you know, going through this kind of hamster wheel of something that isn't really you. So I would say just go back to what, you know, the why are you doing this, and what feels and comes most naturally to you. And also I think, you know, sorry, there was a second point and I've completely lost it now. I forgot what I was going to say. But anyway, that just be authentically yourself and stick to what's natural and comfortable for you. And I think that will show in the content you create. And who knows, maybe later on in life, you can hire somebody to post content on one of the other platforms on your behalf, you know, having a virtual assistant or something. But when it's just you doing it, I think you need to do things that are easy and just come naturally to yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
I just think also add is that I think these platforms, you got to make them fun for you. So what I did was I did a different thing. So Monday I'll do a live every Monday. So number one, my audience will know every Monday, 8 o'clock, we're going to sit down with E-Man and he's going to have a guest. So that post in the morning on Monday would be who the guest was. In the evening, it would be a live. That live would carry on over to Tuesday. So I wouldn't need to post on Tuesday morning because I'd still have the live from the evening that would be on Tuesday. So then Tuesday, what I then think is, oh, maybe I'll do a quote. Then I used to do Wealth Wednesday. So I'd do a tip on Wednesday, Wealth Wednesday. Then, you know, Thursday, I'd find something to do on Thursday. And then Friday would be like fun Friday off. Try and break it up so that you're doing different things. Also utilize, sometimes you might just want to be in the stories. So one day you might just want to be in this. The best thing about stories is you don't have to be prepared. All you have to do is hold that button and talk and let go. And boom, is there. Whoever's going to see is going to see it. And a lot of the time, people that follow you a lot, or people that are in your DMs that comment, they see your stories. That your story. If someone DMs you and you do a story, those people you will come up at the front of those stories. So a lot of the time with stories, the reason that it's a lot safer is people that actually have bought into you, that get on with you, that like you. So you don't have to necessarily be rehearsed. So you can do stuff on story. Try and make it as fun as you can for you. Do things you like. You might even think, you know what, even though your thing's about book, you might think, you know what, one day I want to just talk about food because I love food. Do it. No one, like, people want to get to know you. So if that's you, it doesn't always have to be book, everyday book. And also think about, how do I make book fun? So, okay, you're an author. Maybe somebody wants to know, how do I go about writing a children's book? What are the things I need to think about? Not just talk about what you do, but talk about how does somebody get into it? What are the hurdles that you've overcome? What are some of the challenges you face? What are some of the issues you've had? These things get shared and it makes it more fun because now you're sharing. It almost becomes therapy because you shared and then you connect with people and different people will connect on different things. So don't just try and post every day. Like, try and think, how do I add to this audience in different ways on a daily basis? And that will make it a lot more fun and a lot less programmed.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Wonderful. Rebecca, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I think mine kind of follows on from what Mara was talking about, actually. You guys talked a lot about video content and reels. Do you feel that that's the sweet spot at the moment? Kelly, I think you talked about it right at the beginning, that video is just a way for you. But, you know, you've got reels, you've got carousels, you've got stories. In your planning, do you try and mix it up a little bit, or have you found that videos are just the ones that work for you?
I have no plan. So I have no plan other than giving value. But videos, just by way of that's what people want to see, they flick. And I'm quite contrary to everyone else. So I hardly ever do a short video, but that's just because people are used to seeing me talk. So I've worked out how to, well, hopefully, no, it does work. I shouldn't say hopefully it does work. I look at my stats, it's working. So if you are, I don't know if you're obviously some of your service-based, some of your product-based, but if you do have something to say, don't be scared of doing a little bit of a longer video, just chop it up. So if you look at my videos, I could memorize my whole reel for a minute or 45 seconds, but that's people going to scroll. I would scroll past it. So like a little tip, I record a few lines at a time. So it's going to sound broken up. Da 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 da. And I'm going to chop it. So I'll be talking to you here. I might just be here. You don't think it's anything, but it's keeping you watching because your eyes moving. Oh, she's there. Okay, she's there. Her tone's changed. Her hair's now over her shoulder. Like little things are making your eyes keep watching. And then obviously you're listening because that's one thing I do have the plan is how the reel is. So there's a hook. Do you not want £400? I swear you don't need £400. You're listening. You want the £400. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit of, okay, how? Okay, why, Kels? Okay, and then the answer. So that I have a plan of what happens once I've decided the video, but I have no posting plan. But it's for me, it's always going to be videos. They say that they're for different things. So videos can be showing and information. Your stories are connection and storytelling. Your DMs are for further connection and sales or conversion. And then carousels and videos are for information that people are going to say.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, the majority of the panel have talked about reels and videos. So I just wanted to hone in on the different formats and see if there was any, and Kel, like I know you're saying you haven't got a plan, but you're telling a story though. You're telling a story, and that's what's pulling people in, right?
Yeah, and people just
kind of a plan.
People want free info. They want free stuff. They come on my page because they know that if I'm bothered to do a video, they're going to find out some free money. They're going to find out that you can get there's some free, or I've given free information. So just think about what is it people come in there for. People are takers. They're coming to take something from your page. So I think videos work well.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Hannah, you've got your hand up.
Hi everyone, it's been such a good night. Loved listening to you on a drive to drop off my children. So it's been a great night, and it's good to see some familiar faces as well. So my question is, I guess, and I know lots of you have touched on it already in the panel, but what has been your greatest challenge with social media? Just one, and how have you overcome that? And I throw it to anyone on the panel.
I don't mind going first. I think for me, my greatest challenge is consistency. I think because I do the most all the time, it's just trying to keep the momentum. But I think what counteracts that is keeping it fun. I like the process of making the reel. I find it fun. It's like just putting it together is a nice thing for me to do. So it's just, I think for me, it's trying to find the fun in doing it. And like I said before, honouring the season that I'm in. If I feel like doing it, I'll do it. If I don't feel like doing it, I'm not going to do it. If I don't feel like doing it, like what everybody else says, I'm going to put out something that nobody's going to, it's just not, people are going to see the truth behind it. So I might as well just not show up for a little bit. And then when I'm ready, I'll come back in and then you'll get the best of me. So.
Thank you.
And the host chip in, is that all right? So I think for me, the struggle has been, and this speaks to what Natalie was sharing, when you have like life situations, and like you just can't show up. You've got that conflict of, I'm building a business. I know that social media is a part of that. And there's that kind of conflict and struggle. And then it's like, well, how do you now present yourself again, right? You've been AWOL because you've been dealing with stuff where people, we have lives and stuff happens. And again, to Georgina's point, like honoring the season that you're in. If you're gonna show up and you're gonna be kind of bleeding out, I would say, on social media, stay off. You know, delete the app, don't do it. Because I think that's more damaging. But yeah, that's what I would share.
I think you can
Amazing, thank you.
also say, sorry, you can also say like you can let people know in advance, I'm tapped out, I need a break. That's it, that's the truth. Guys, I need a break. I'm missing, I'll be back in a week. You know, hope everybody's well. Like people do understand, like social media is not real life. Your real life is outside of social media. So I think if you're just honest and say that rather than sort of just not, and then obviously when you come back, you can say why you absent, but you don't have to. Just say, oh, now I'm back. Let's get into what have I missed, and maybe get your audience to tell you what have they missed, and then turn it back to them, and then make that be your post. But I think that a lot of us need to give ourselves some grace, because we are doing a lot out here. It's hard. It's hard. So you know, when you feel like, man, I can't do this. We're juggling so much hats. Social media is one aspect of all of our lives. We've all got family. Some of us are carers. We're trying to step out of our main jobs. We're trying to do the side hustle. We're trying to teach our children. Maybe we're caring for the elderly. Like sometimes I think that we actually forget we're bad at here. So actually, give yourself some grace. If you feel like you can't, you can't. Let people know. Like I'm tapped out, guys. I'll be back. You know, everybody take care. Then when you come, like it's all right. It'll be there.
Guys, this has been such like a beautiful conversation. Like I did not see it. You know, when you plan something and in your head, like you kind of think how it's gonna go, but this has been so much more than I could have even planned. So like, thank you so much. What the plan was to next do networking in breakout rooms, but I'm loving this whole conversation. And I just wonder maybe if people wanted to unmute and maybe share for a minute and a half and no more, like what you do, who you serve, what value you add. If you can do that in a minute and a half, then like go for it. I would say to keep it orderly, maybe if you raise your hands. I can only see the guys whose video is on, so if your video isn't on, I guess I can see it from the participants. So if you're wanting to share, if you're bold and confident, then please go ahead. Hannah, you have your hand up from previously, but are you wanting to share? Do you want to?
Yeah, sorry, I should have put it down. But yeah, happy to share. So I'm Hannah. I recently retired from teaching in a primary school classroom in April. So I'm very new to entrepreneurship. I have an online tutor business. And in running that, I noticed that there was, you know, definitely a niche in the market for social media management. I found it really tricky to use it to leverage my tutor business. And I'm in a wonderful network of other entrepreneurs who had similar challenges with consistency, finding the time, enjoyment, everything that we've talked about tonight. So I launched my social media business, Clockflower Solutions, where I help business owners. I help business owners leverage their social media accounts to build their online community, have organic growth, and nurture sales. So that's what I do. And that's my cat.
Amazing. And you did that in under a minute. So like, well done. I said this at the top of the conference. I'm gonna be shopping for people to come onto the Black Business Vault as like guest experts. So I've got all of you like marked. Like, I love what you guys are sharing. Sarah, do you want to go next?
Yeah, okay, in a minute. So my background is I've been doing social work for 25 years, but for the last 15 years, I've been really passionate about natural Afro textured hair, but really healthy hair, like with a passion. So I've had social media for a few years, but not really doing anything. And I've got like a book out as well, but it's not really about the book. So my Instagram now is really about getting our community to reconnect with our hair, because I feel like spiritually and emotionally we're disconnected with our hair. So that is my passion, is to really just move forward. I used to be chasing people in the street because I wanted to help people. Like, I think people used to think I was crazy, because when I see your hair, it speaks to me, and your spirit speaks to me. So that's my passion. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I think it's really important for our younger generation that we reconnect with our hair, because it's part of our heritage, it's part of our spirit, it's part of our power, it's part of our glory. So yeah, that's where I'm moving. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Marva, you have your hand up next.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Marva Carty, and I am a children's book author and founder of Mango Line Publishing. You'll notice a theme here. And my mission is to create books that educate, empower, and entertain children, and ultimately have a multimedia content company that will serve the global majority peoples, aka us Black and Brown people, in a positive manner. So I am on that journey to on that path to develop that, and I'm willing to join in a community with anyone who's willing to share a similar voyage, a similar path with myself. And yeah, I don't like to ramble on, so that's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marva. Nat, you've got your hand up, sweetheart.
Hi, I am Natalie Remy. So I am an online coach, fitness trainer, fitness professional, personal trainer. I work with women to really get the best out of themselves. I'm passionate specifically about working with women because I feel that, passionate about working with mothers because I feel like we care, and we care about our children, we raise our children, and in the process of doing that, we forget about ourselves. So I work with empower women to really love their bodies, love the skin that they're in, and try to encourage women into fitness by making it fun. So that is what I'm passionate about, and that is what I am great at. So I am hired to do events. So I do fitness events, fitness weekends, fitness holidays. Then I have my own classes that I do. And then I do the online coaching. And then outside of that, it's just me living my best life and trying to inspire women that you can do too.
Amazing. Bang on time. I'm timing you guys. Rebecca, you have your hand up.
Hi, evening everyone. Thank you for a great evening of insight and just some gems. My name's Rebecca. I've recently launched a membership program called Digital Marketing Vibes, where you can sign up on a monthly basis to consume videos and content around digital marketing. My target audience is small and medium-sized businesses who are time sensitive, who potentially don't have digital marketing knowledge, and they're trying, they're in that space where they're trying to align their business goals through digital marketing. So there will be videos, there will be workbooks, there will be templates to help you along that journey, no matter where you are. The membership also has a Facebook community, so you can network with other like-minded business owners, and also a bi-weekly coaching call so that you can ask me any questions as you're going through your journey. I've been working in digital marketing for 15 plus years, so for corporate companies. So now it's my time. It's my time to use my expertise to help small businesses who really need the guidance.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Rita, you have your hand up.
Hi guys, it's the first time I'm speaking today. So I have a digital marketing and IT agency. So we've been in business since 2012. I came from a corporate background as well, and my last company where I was working was I've worked for people like British Petroleum, GlaxoSmithKline, Sky TV in the marketing industry. But one fine day I went into a seminar and realized that the world was going to go online. And I think as the COVID hit, that's when people actually started realizing the value of Zoom and what have you. So our expertise is mainly, our target audience is normally small to medium to even larger size businesses, but we develop websites, CRM systems, apps. We do social media for small to medium sized businesses who actually want to get online and market themselves. So we build the brands for them. And some of the work is outsourced, but some of the work is within as well. So a lot of, we've got something like 20 developers, and we're based in Birmingham as far as the development side is concerned. And then we're based in, some of the IT side is also based in India as outsourcers as well. And I'm Indian myself, so I speak the language, and, you know, we work with a lot of geeks and what have you. So yeah. But our main goal now, we're also developing the Smiley brand into health and fitness and martial arts, because we've realized there's a big niche in the online space for martial arts. And also health and fitness is not really saturated. Natalie will probably know. Some people say that it is saturated, but it's not. So all the niches that I'm saying are not saturated, you know. So there's a lot of work to be getting on in that. So yeah, we're building our brand as well in other niches as well as social media.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rita. Tan, you have your hand up, sweetheart.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So many gems and all sorts. I was chatting up a storm in the comments, so thank you so much, everyone. I have a very tiny business. Mine is called Tanya Dreams. It's all about helping mums remember who they are and fulfill their dreams that they may have forgotten. I'm a very mature mum. I know there's shed loads of mums out there. Big up Naomi Campbell with her 53-year-old self and her brand new bambino. I'm not quite 53, but my body feels like it is. Anyway, moving on. I'm just trying to help you mums out there remember your dreams, feel your love, you know, all those things you want to do in life. So I'm trying to show mine through my social media. I've done my vision board. I'm showing people that I'm doing my vision, so to encourage other mums to do their vision. So eventually I'm going to be having like some ebooks and things like that to help mums to go and do their things too. But I want them to see that I'm doing it first. I've not got my dreams yet. I'm just not there yet, but I'm trying to get there. So I'm trying to show people how to get there. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Marva, did we? Yeah. All right, cool. All right. So last call for any other shares, if anyone else wants to come on. Let me just check if anyone's put anything in the chat. No one has put anything that they're wanting to share. So I'm gonna call this to a close. No, the giveaway. All right. So, you know, when people say you have to be in it to win it, like you literally have to be in it to win it. And not many people were in it. So I was going to give away 3. So one was a content day where we would meet with you in London. You'd get 90 minutes of photography, professional photography, video footage, make your reels, and hand that over to you. Or you could have got 5 hours of virtual assistant services. So I'm launching an agency, a virtual assistant agency, as an arm to the vault. So to help the members and to help people who are not members with editing videos, blogging, all that kind of content-y stuff. We had 4 people that entered the competition. So I was only going to give away 3, but I'm just going to give it all to the 4 people that entered, assuming they're on the call. I can see one, which is Rebecca, Tanya, and then we had, hold on, I've got the names. Marva, yes, you were one. And then there was a late entry, which I can't see right now. Hold on. Where is it? I think her name was Saffron. Is Saffron on? Is that you, Sarah? Yeah, cool. All right, amazing. You had to be on live to claim your thing. So send me a message. Let me know. Like, okay, so the content day is only London based. If you're not in London, I can't help you. I'm just saying that, like, unless you want to, like, if you're out of the country and you want to fly us out, we're happy to come and film your reels. We don't mind. So yeah, guys, I am like so blessed by everything. Oh, bless you, Marva.
I'm so excited. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Would have like entered. I was like, guys, where are you? So I'm like, you can't really do a live sweepstake, you know, and there's only 4 people. Prizes. I'm just like, everyone gets it.
I'm glad there's only 4 because I got it.
Exactly.
Yeah, me too.
And that's the thing, Tan, you were like, you've got to be in it to win it. And you absolutely have to, right? Because people probably think, oh, I never win anything, so I don't enter.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, I'm not going to win, but I'm going to try. I'm so excited.
Yeah, amazing. Send me a message and let me know which one you want. And then we will get that arranged. All right, guys, I'm gonna give you back your evening. Oh, it's 9:30. Amazing. That was when I wanted to end. So thank you so much. If you haven't put your details in the chat, then send them to me directly. I'm gonna create a directory of everyone who joined. I've dropped the guide into the chat. You should have had that in the emails. Some of the speakers were given offers. So Georgina was given a discount on her Opulence collection. Who else? Natalie for her personal training. She was given an offer. I had opened up the vault for your first month for £12. Like, that's a giveaway. We have, okay, my husband is editing at the moment. There's 600 photos in there currently. We did a shoot at the weekend. I think he's like sifting through 1,500 at the moment. I'm like, dude, you're trigger happy. Like, literally, yeah. So thank you so much. I'm truly blessed by you guys all showing up and sharing, and I hope that you took away some value from this. The next BBV conference will be around podcasting. So if you podcast or you know somebody who podcasts, then please, like a Black podcaster, send them my way. I can't wait to host that. And eventually, like, you know, the conferences will be in person. So we'll have the different pods of people and we'll all come together and edify and just really help one another to move forward in the online space. So with that, please have your evenings back. Go back to your kids, your husbands, your dogs, your Netflix, whatever it is that you need. Natalie, why are you doing your face like that?
I don't want to go back to my kids. They're smashing up my house. Like, that's just over.
Go hide from them then. Go in the bathroom and lock the door. Wonderful. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Like, if you guys took any photos or whatever, you can tag hashtag BBVConSM for social media. So be sure to share. Actually, let me get a picture. Can you guys like wave? That would be really nice. And why is my thing not working now? I'm doing a keystroke. Got it. Bless you all. See you. Take care. Speak soon. Message me, guys, if you were the winner. Send me a message and let me know what you want.